So, you've got this brilliant idea for an app, but you don't know the first thing about code. That's perfect. Seriously, we're going to walk through the entire journey together, from that little spark of an idea all the way to launching and actually making money from your app. And yeah, without writing a single line of code. Let's get into it. It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it. The world of apps is just massive. We're talking more than 5 million of them out there between Apple and Google. It's a crowded space, for sure, but it is absolutely filled with opportunity, and there is definitely room for your idea. And this is the question, right? This is the wall that stops so many amazing ideas in their tracks. You can see the app in your head. You know exactly what you want it to do. But that one little word, coding, it just feels like this impossible mountain to climb. It's probably the #1 reason great ideas stay as just ideas. And for the longest time, that was pretty much the end of the story. If you couldn't code or you couldn't hire a developer, well, tough luck. But we're in a completely different world now. The game has changed. The rules have been totally rewritten, and the tools that were once locked away for expert programmers, they're now available to, well, everyone. So let's start at the very beginning, the first stage of this new journey. It all kicks off with that spark, with your idea, but the path to making it real looks nothing like it did just a few years ago. Let's just break it down. The old way, you'd have to hire a development agency, which would easily cost you tens of thousands of dollars and take months, maybe even years. The new way, using what's called a no-code app builder. We're talking a process that's at least 10 times faster and, dramatically cheaper. It's a total game changer. But listen, a powerful tool is only half the battle. The best apps on your phone right now aren't just built well, they were planned well. So now we've got to move to the blueprint phase, because this is where you build your foundation for success. Before you even touch a builder, there are 3 steps you just can't skip. First, do your research. You got to know your competition, see what's already out there. Second, wireframe it. Just sketch out the basic flow of your app. And third, and this one is so crucial, get feedback from people who would actually use your app. Skipping these steps is, hands down, the fastest way to build something nobody wants.
And when we say wireframe, don't get intimidated. It can be incredibly simple. We're not talking about a fancy design here. It's just a basic blueprint. You're literally just drawing boxes and lines, mapping out where buttons go and how a user gets from screen A to screen B. It's all about structure, not style. And trust me, getting this right early on will save you a ton of headaches later.
Okay, you've got your blueprint in hand. Now it's time to head to the workshop. This is where the real magic happens, and it's all thanks to this incredible movement that is changing everything, the no-code revolution.
So what in the world is a no-code platform? Honestly, the best way to think about it is like building with digital Legos. Instead of writing out complicated instructions in some programming language, you're just using a visual screen to drag, drop, and connect pre-built pieces to create your app. You get to be the architect, and the platform is your entire construction crew.
So let's be real about the trade-offs. Custom code, yeah, it gives you absolute limitless customization, but you're paying for it with a whole lot of time and money. We're talking months, maybe years of super expensive development. An app builder just flips that whole equation. You can get your app out in days for a tiny fraction of the cost. The catch? You have some limits on customization, but for most of us, that's a trade-off that is absolutely worth making to get your idea out into the world. This iceberg is probably the best way I've ever seen to explain app development. The front end is just the tip of the iceberg. It's what your users actually see and tap on. But the huge, hidden part under the water, about 80% of all the work, is the back end. That's all the servers, the databases, the complex logic that makes everything tick. And here's the genius of no-code. These platforms, they take care of that entire massive, complicated back end for you. All that hidden stuff is just handled, which means you get to pour all of your time and energy into the part that your users actually care about, the front-end experience they see and hopefully love. But look, it's really important to keep it real here. As this Reddit user points out, not all no-code platforms are created equal. Some of them can really struggle with performance and speed, especially as your app starts to get popular. The big takeaway here is you got to do your homework. When you're picking a platform, look for one that's known for being stable and has a clear path for scaling up as you grow. Okay, you have planned, you have built, you have tested. Now, It's time for the big one. It's time to get your creation out there and into the hands of potentially billions of users. It is time for the launch. And these are the two giants that run the app world: Google's Play Store for all the Android phones and Apple's App Store for iPhones. This is where your app is going to live. Getting it listed right here is the critical step to reaching a global audience. But just being on the store isn't enough. You have to get noticed. And that is where something called App Store Optimization, or ASO, comes in. Just think about it from a user's perspective, right? A really slick professional icon makes them stop scrolling. Using the right keywords in your app's description helps them find you when they search. And awesome screenshots show them exactly why they should bother hitting that download button.
All right, your app is live. People are actually downloading it. That is amazing. Now for the question everybody wants to know. How do you turn this thing into a business? Let's talk about the payoff.
Now, there are a few ways to monetize your app, but the data points to one very clear winner: in-app purchases. They drive nearly half, almost 50% of all mobile app revenue. If you're serious about building a business, this is where you should focus your energy.
These in-app purchases usually fall into two main buckets. You've got consumables, which are things people use up and might buy again, like extra lives in a game. And then you have non-consumables, which are one-time permanent unlocks, like paying to remove ads forever or getting access to a new level. And of course, there's another absolutely massive way to make money: in-app ads. The scale here is, well, it's staggering. That number you're looking at, that's $226 billion. That's how big the in-app ad market is expected to be by 2025. And the great thing is, you don't need a huge piece of that pie to build a very, very successful business. Getting your app launched and bringing in money is a huge, huge milestone. But it is not the finish line, not even close. A successful app is a living, breathing project. This is the long game, where your journey as a creator really continues. After you launch, a dashboard like this becomes your new best friend. You've got to be checking your analytics. How many people are downloading your app? How are they actually using it? Is it crashing on them? This data, plus all the feedback you get from users, is the fuel you're going to use to constantly improve and grow your app over time. So, there it is. The barrier to entry, that big wall we talked about, it has never been lower. The tools are more powerful and easier to use than they have ever been. The only missing piece of the puzzle right now is your unique idea. So the question is no longer if you can build it. The only question left is, what will you build?